everyone, welcome to Journey to Illustration with Arlie Anderson. I know Journey to Illustration has been on quite a long hiatus and it's been a while since I've updated, but I'm back now. And a lot has happened and changed since my last update. In many ways, I've changed. And it's hard to ignore the elephant in the room that is the election. Between that and everything else that's been going on in the world, I've had a bit of a shift in goals and in purpose. Even before the election, I've started thinking more about how I can use my art to tell stories that matter. And my mission statement is still explore with childlike wonder. But I also have a separate mission statement I want to focus on this year. And that mission statement is, I use my voice to make the world a profoundly kinder place. I use my art and my stories to make the world a profoundly kinder place. You know, I think right now it's easy to feel apathetic. It's easy to feel hopeless. I don't care for the direction we're going. And that's my personal opinion, and I know that. And I think there's still so much good in humanity, and I think there's still so much good inside of us. And so I feel like I could let fear and outrage consume me, or I could roll up my sleeves and find a way to make a change and get to work. Coming from this perspective, I have a renewed sense of purpose. I have a lot I want to work on this year. I've had this epic fairy tale fantasy story jumbling around in my head since April called The Spring Warriors. And at first I put it down in my head as a stupid or a silly idea and told myself that now's not the time to work on it because I already have Stolen by Fairies that I'm working on. And at the time I had some freelance work coming in and do now too. You can probably see the pencil drawing for an illustration I'm working on for a client at the moment through my children's book agency, Wendy Lynn & Co. And so I've been able to stay quite busy. But no matter how much I've pushed this story down in my head and tried to put it away, it keeps finding its way to the surface. And after November, it just seems like a story that wants to be told, that I need to tell. It's a story I want to tell. And so as soon as I have a few less coals in the fire, which hopefully will be by next week, I plan to get started on writing this story of taking the lofty ideas in my head and this ambiguous behemoth of a project and committing it to paper. I'm still not quite sure what form this story is going to take. It's definitely not a children's book, although it's not safe for children. It's just meant for a slightly older audience. But I think it's either going to be a graphic novel or, and this is a slightly more lofty goal, but my old mentor used to tell me all the time, that you should act as if you can't fail. And if I couldn't fail, I would do this project as a small DIY animated series on YouTube. And I like the idea of doing that. But that seems so over my head and way beyond my skill set. But it's still a medium that I'm interested in. And so as I'm writing the story and breaking it down into chapters and episodes, I have a little side project that I want to do along with it, which is to make at least an animatic trailer for the project. That way I can at least get a little bit of experience in storyboarding, creating concept art, and using Boomtoon Studios, which is a software program that a lot of animators use these days. And so creating just a 2 to 3 minute video seems, much more doable than creating a whole animated series. And that way I can get an idea of the sense of scale that I want for this project. And hopefully it would also give me the skills I need to pursue animation as a career. It seems like many people within the animation industry believe that they can make the world a better place through stories. And that's the kind of crowd I want to surround myself with. People who go into work with a childlike sense of play, but with a real sense of responsibility to the audience and to the story they're trying to tell. Pulling back from that big picture, my next step is going to be to take the very, very rough outline that I have for my Spring Warriors idea and start fleshing it out. Start thinking about the character arcs of my ensemble cast And then the next step after I have those character arcs figured out is to create those character designs, to decide what my group of spring warriors is going to look like. That's the goal for at least the end of this month. After that, probably storyboarding for the trailer, to start thinking about what the key moments in my story and in the trailer are and get those committed to paper, and so on. I figure if I break this down into monthly chunks in my journal, that this huge daunting project will seem a little more doable. But before all that, I need to finish a digital illustration I'm working on for a freelance client, and that's pretty much of utmost importance at the moment, especially because I lost like several days of work being sick twice, which is not fun. I'm just now starting to get over a really brutal sinus infection that just left me in absolute misery for about a week and a half. But I am starting to feel better now, so I need to get this project done. And so my goal is to have this piece done by Friday at the latest. Professional connections and timeliness is just too important to me to screw up. In terms of other goals for 2017, I'm also planning to spend more time enriching my mind. I have a reading list at the moment that's long as my arm, and I want to study more about world religion, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, go back and explore some of my Buddhist roots, explore the concepts of consciousness. I have books I want to read on politics by the likes of Noam Chomsky and Dr. Cornel West and Bernie Sanders. You probably don't have to guess too hard on where my political allegiances lie. And I want to study passive resistance. Martin Luther King Jr., Desmond Tutu, Mahatma Gandhi, Henry Thoreau, books on history and ecology, books on philosophy. I'm really into Alan Watts these days. And lastly, books of folklore. Because I think in order to be a good storyteller, you have to understand where your storytelling roots come from. So studying more Joseph Campbell, more Carl Jung and his archetypes, Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes, whose book, Women Who Run with Wolves, has really been insightful for me lately. There's hardly a page in that book that hasn't seen the mark of my highlighter. And my other big goal for this year is to get more politically involved, volunteer more, to get more involved with political movements I believe in, to protest where I see fit as necessary and conducive to protecting our constitutional rights, and more involved with just trying to help people in whatever shape or form that takes. Because it's not about me. It's about taking care of each other. It's about looking at our fellow humans and asking ourselves how we can be of service, how we can be present with those in pain and those who are afraid, how we can be present with those we disagree with, those we don't understand, and how we can be present in general in our lives and for our world. And I have no qualms in admitting that I am a huge frickin' hippie. So those are my plans for this year, this month, and this week. Make the world a kinder place. I'll report back next week and let you know what my progress has been so far. But in the meantime, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, and Instagram, and at my own website, arlieanderson.com. Links in the doobly-doo. And if you like this video, feel free to subscribe and leave a comment below. I really appreciate any feedback you guys have, and I'd love to hear what you guys are working on this year, where you're at the moment with things. Do you have a story within you that you would like to tell? If so, tell me about it. I'd love to hear. But that's all for now. I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye!